A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant escalation of tensions, Israel has announced a complete halt to humanitarian aid entering Gaza, warning of additional consequences if Hamas does not accept a new proposal for extending the fragile ceasefire. This development comes as the first phase of the ceasefire, which had allowed for a surge in humanitarian assistance, expired on Saturday without a clear agreement on the next steps. The halt in aid has drawn sharp criticism from Hamas, which accuses Israel of attempting to derail the truce and labels the decision as cheap extortion, a war crime, and a blatant attack on the ceasefire agreement. Despite the rhetoric, both sides have refrained from officially declaring the ceasefire over, indicating a complex and precarious situation. The first phase of the ceasefire, which began on January 19th, facilitated the entry of hundreds of aid trucks into Gaza daily, significantly alleviating some humanitarian pressures in the region. However, the current suspension of aid raises concerns about the immediate impact on the civilian population, which has already faced significant hardships due to ongoing conflict. An Israeli official disclosed that the decision to suspend aid was made in coordination with the Donald Trump administration, suggesting a strategic alignment between Israeli and U.S. interests in the region. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office expressed support for a proposal from U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, which seeks to extend the first phase of the ceasefire through the Muslim holy month of Ramadan and the Jewish Passover holiday, ending on April 20th. Under this proposal, it is expected that Hamas would release half of the remaining hostages on the first day, with the remainder contingent upon reaching an agreement for a permanent ceasefire. However, tensions have flared as Hamas has expressed its willingness to release the hostages, but only in exchange for the release of more Palestinian prisoners, a permanent ceasefire, and the full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. In response to Israel's suspension of aid, a Hamas spokesman condemned the decision, stating that it reveals the ugly face of the Israeli occupation, and called for international pressure on Israel to cease its actions that are perceived as starving the Palestinian people. An Egyptian official has also weighed in, asserting that Hamas and Egypt will reject any new proposals aimed at returning the remaining hostages unless the ongoing war is brought to an end. This sentiment reflects the broader regional dynamics at play, as Egypt has historically played a mediating role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The first 6-week phase of the ceasefire had seen Hamas release 25 Israeli hostages and the bodies of 8 others in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. While this exchange marked a significant moment in the negotiations, the phase was marred by ongoing disputes, with both sides accusing each other of violations. Reports have emerged of Israeli strikes resulting in the deaths of dozens of Palestinians, whom the military claimed had approached its forces or entered restricted areas in violation of the truce. Hamas, on the other hand, has been criticized for parading captives in public displays that have been deemed cruel and degrading by Israel and the United Nations. As the situation continues to evolve, the international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that can bring lasting peace to a region long plagued by conflict and suffering. With the humanitarian aid cutoff in place, the urgency for both sides to return to the negotiating table is greater than ever, as the implications of continued hostilities weigh heavily on the civilian population in Gaza. The coming days will be critical as both Israel and Hamas grapple with the consequences of their actions and the potential for renewed negotiations that could lead to a more sustainable ceasefire. The complexities of the situation highlight the challenges of achieving a lasting resolution in a conflict that has persisted for decades, with deep-rooted historical grievances on both sides. As the world watches, the hope remains that dialogue can prevail over violence, and that a path to peace can be forged amidst the turmoil. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.